We are back, so jump up and down for this one. Everyone can cheer your favorite Cardinal squad on, even the visitors. We will put this one away as we are on a collision course with a long show, packed with great stuff. Celebrate the victories as Ian will win this race to home. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
I'm Howie Shapiro, and they're not all gems. I'm sorry. I do my best, and they're not all gems, but I laughed, and it made me laugh, and I thought I'd use it.
There we go. We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
do.
The season's about a week and a half in. We've got 3 different Sports Night spotlights to get to on 3 of the spring teams. The schedule is a little off for the spring here at CTN, so we're going to do this show on the 21st of April. Then we'll have a week and a half off. We'll be on Monday, the 3rd of May, will be our next show, and hopefully that one can be just as amazing as this one.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal, I know.
But this one is absolutely jam-packed. We'll start with the baseball team. They opened the season a little more than a week ago, hosting Minnetonka at Wintercrest. After a shortened preseason, the Cardinals jumped right into action. They have plenty of talent, but with last year lost to COVID, almost the whole lineup was making its varsity debut. And it was an interesting one. Bottom of the first, runners at second and third, pitch in the dirt, and here comes Ian Wynn. Cardinals captain slides home with the first run of the year. It's 1-1. Next batter, runner at third, 2 outs. This time the pitch is way high and all the way to the backstop. Antonio Manos, another captain, coming in easily, cards up 2-1. Tied at 2 in the second after walking a double. Zach White digs this one out for the first hit of his varsity career. Fielder bobbles it. That'll allow a second run to come home. Cards up 4-2. This one is back and forth all game long. Manos walked and scored his first 2 times up. Third time is the charm as he sends this blast over the head of Ungleman right. Ricky Petroff will jog into the plate, even the score at 5. Jack Blasity went 3 for 4 in the opener to lead the Cardinals, sneaks this grounder down the line at third. Manos scores for the 3rd time, and Coon Rapids leads 6-5. In the 6th, another high pitch. Skips off the catcher's glove. Sophomore Mark Manders will hustle home. It was 8-6 home team after the 5th. But a rough 6th inning changed the course of the game. A pitch in the dirt from Jennings Jermel gets away, but it was ball 4 with bases loaded anyway. Davis comes home to tie the game at 8. Base is still full of skippers, nobody out. Manos comes in to pitch. His first pitch hit back up the middle. Lucas LeBrant to Parker Roloff for the out. Minnetonka scores 5 in the inning and leads 11-8. Cardinals need a rally in the 7th. Ian Wynn grounds out to first. Manders will score from third. 2 runs in his varsity debut. Not too bad for the sophomore, but it's not enough. Manos at the plate with 2 outs. Gets under this one a little too much, and it's an easy play for the center fielder. Cardinals drop a high-scoring opener, 12-10. Skippers the final.
Yeah, I was seesawing back and forth in that game. Obviously, it was cold and kind of been the theme for baseball so far this season. But yeah, it would have been a nice win to start the season, but unfortunately, they couldn't finish it at the end.
Yeah, pitching was suspect on both sides as far as balls in the dirt and getting past catchers, and the cold certainly was an impact on that. Fielding a little bit of an issue on both sides, but more so on the Cardinals side. I think of the 12 runs they allowed, I think only 6 or even fewer were actually earned runs. So rough outing for the Cardinals. Next game took them to Rogers on Wednesday, and they lose 4-2 to the Royals. Another game that had a couple of errors in it. One of the 4 Rogers runs was unearned. Andrew Racine actually threw a pretty good game, but had to settle for the loss. Only 4 hits in the ballgame for the Cardinals. Jackson Fierce had 2 of them. Sam Halverson had 2, and Mark Manders had a 1-for-3 game with a double. Against Blaine, both runs unearned. 2 errors in the 3rd inning, back-to-back that started out. And then a bunt single loaded the bases with nobody out. They get 2 runs across. They're both unearned. Jack Blasity had a great game on the mound actually, but ends up taking the loss again with giving up those 2 unearned runs. But just 3 hits. 3 hits in this one. Blasity, Manos, and Manders.
Yeah, that's tough when you're not hitting the ball.
Hopkins came to town. This was their first day with really nice weather.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful on Saturday afternoon for their official home opener. 5 hits in the game, 5 errors.
Miscues in the field have been killing them.
10 of Hopkins' 16 runs were unearned. And somebody had to take the loss, so it was Mark Manders that took the loss in his first varsity start. And, the Cardinals off to a bit of a tough start.
They are.
Too many errors in the field.
Yeah.
But I do believe this is a team that hopefully will be able to bounce back.
It's not how you start, but how you finish.
Absolutely.
Well, the Cardinals were back at home on Monday, hoping to get out on the right and pick up their first win of the year. Osseo came in at 1-1 with a win over Rogers and a lopsided loss to Maple Grove. The Orioles were a beatable opponent, but the Cardinals' fielding troubles kept them from taking advantage of an opportunity. It starts off rightly. Ian Wynn led off with the first with a single, stole second. Here he steals third. When the throw gets away, he's going to fly home and slide safely with the game's first run. A couple of errors in the top of the second. They're going to cost the Cardinals 3 runs, but the inning ends on a defensive gem. Sam Halverson with a diving catch on a shot toward the gap. Unfortunately, the Cardinals had 9 errors before the game was over. They were focusing on positives. Another outstanding effort from Wynn in the third. Tracks down this bomb, makes a diving catch, steals away with a base hit. It's worth another look. Beautiful catch by Ian Wynn. Move to the fourth. Cards down 6-1. Zach White at the plate. He strikes out on a curveball in the dirt, skips away from the catcher. Mark Manders comes home on the wild pitch. He's able to get there and score the run. Down 11-2 in the sixth. The one and only Aaron Yun at the plate. Another wild pitch. Manders able to come in from third, as you see him scoring there. One for Manders is 1 for 3 with a walk and a steal and a pair of runs. We're still in the sixth. Runners at the corners. We're already past that.
Fierce grounded out to third, and Halverson scored.
Good start to the show.
But, it was 9 errors in the field and only 6 hits. And a lot of guys are getting good contact, just not able to get the balls to fall. And then, the errors in the field, a lot of them are guys just trying to do too much and rather than take what the game that's given to them.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it last night during the game, and as you mentioned, just too many errors, and you're not going to win ball games when you're committing 9 errors in a game.
Well, the good thing,
only 6 hits in the game too for the Cardinals.
Good thing about being 0-5 right now, really they've been beaten by the same team 5 times,
right?
And it's the team they
themselves
have in their dugout.
Well,
the Cardinals haven't had the start they were hoping for, but they're still confident in what they can achieve this season. Cardinals have a lot of good ball players, but very little varsity experience, so it may take a while for them to get into the swing of the season. But when they do, they believe they can go deep in the postseason.
It's great to be back here. A lot of friendships, a lot of bonds. Yeah.
The Cardinals are excited to be back on the field, and they know that losing last season presents them with additional challenges this year.
Kind of messed us up a little bit. We could have had a lot more skill be built up, but we're trying to build through that now. Just trying to work through the stumps that we've gone through, and I think we're doing a really good job of that.
Cardinals have a large senior class with a lot of talent. They have some underclassmen that will factor in every game as well. And it's going to take everybody if they want to reach their full potential.
Everyone lost a season, and we need to get as many guys up to speed and up to this level as we can. And
Cardinals have done some things well in their first few games and just haven't had the rewards to go with it. But they're staying positive that things will turn in their favor as long as they stay the course.
Our energy, I think our offense is really good. Our hits haven't been fine, but we've been making really good contact lately.
I love the energy of this team. We kept it close, but sometimes we just need to pull through as a team. We need to know how to win. I think we'll figure that out soon.
The shortened preseason means only 2 weeks from first practice to season opener and no scrimmages. So it's no surprise the Cardinals are struggling in some areas, probably the same as most teams in Minnesota.
Defense and pitching are going to be two big ones for us. If we can consistently throw strikes and pound the strike zone there and field the ball, take care of the routine plays, I think we're going to be in every single game. But those are the things that definitely need the most focus right now.
Coach Mossy has put a lot of different guys on the field early in the year. He's really excited about the depth he has in the dugout and the character of all the guys on the roster.
I'm confident any of the 9 I write on that lineup card any day, and I hope the guys know that, and they all do, and they all support each other, no matter who's on that lineup card.
Well, this will definitely test a team's character. You talk about the depth that they have, and as long as they can stay positive in the dugout, I have confidence that they'll get things turned around.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, because this is a good team. I mean, I think they've got a lot of good athletes, and I think they play the sport well. It's just things aren't going their way right now early in the season.
They're at Armstrong on Thursday the 22nd. They host Park Center next Tuesday. Softball team started with a couple of road games they'd rather forget about. Started on the 14th against Rogers, and they lost 10-0, just 2 hits in the game for the Cardinals. Abby Ness took the loss in 2 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 5 runs, but you notice 0 earned, so some of those fielding troubles happening on that field as well. Then on the 15th, they gave up 18 to the Bengals. Cardinals actually led 2-0 after the top of the first. Lose in 5 innings, 18-2. Becca Mastiller started the game and made it into the second before being pulled. Not the start she wanted. Senior pitcher that they hope for a lot from this season, and just a handful of hits again. Tough start for the girls so far, but the Cardinals got to come home on Friday last week, hosting a high school game at the complex for the first time in nearly 2 years. They were hoping home would be where the hits are. The Cardinals would need the bats to come alive if they hoped to avoid an 0-3 start. Orono opened its season with a 1-run loss the day before, so both teams were hungry to get their first win. Let's start by showcasing some defense, though. Freshman Ryan Mellum behind the plate for the Cardinals, catches the runner napping at second to get the 3rd out of the first inning. Now in the second, 1 out, they show bunt, take a strike. Mellum throws a strike to Gabby Olson. Runner is out by a mile. Spartans had 2 in the first and 3 in the third, so 5-0 when Mellum showcases her offense. Leading off the 4th, when a no-doubt bomb to left center, and she wasn't done. 2 on and 2 out. In the 5th, grounded to second. Numala bobbles and tries the flip. Spartans try to take advantage, but Numala fires it home. Mellum is there to sweep the tag and end the threat. Bottom of the 5th, one of the craziest things you're ever going to see. Jaden Gale with a fly down the left field line. It gets dropped. She keeps hustling. They throw to second. That goes over the head. She moves on to third. That pitch is in the dirt and skips away. She's going to turn and go home with a big smile on her face. The triple error round trip. That sparked the Cardinals' offense. Mellum at the plate. She drives it down the field, the left field line. That'll score 2 more. Cardinals right back in it. Mellum 2 for 3 with a double and a dinger. I guess welcome to the varsity ranks. Then Cardinals complete the comeback. Huge 6th inning. Bases loaded, blue by Leah Numala. Got it back to a 1-run game. And Graham crosses the plate. Up next, Gabby Olson. She smokes it down the left field line. Just fair. They score 2 on that. And the Cardinals celebrate with a 10-6 victory.
Yeah, and it was a fun game. There's no question about that. And it started off the fact I thought Orono was going to run away with the game, and the comeback that the Cardinals made was great. And you were there because you came a little late because you did the spotlight for the softball team, and it was fun, and they needed that win.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day.
Yep.
It was the home opener. They needed something to spark their bats, and they started getting them to fall. They've got a team that they hope can do big things. Of course, last year's team was a team that really, they had broken all kinds of records the year before, and they had a lot of seniors in that group. But they've got a couple that come back, and they've got the Ryan Mellum, the freshman, is pretty impressive so far.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought she played extremely well. Well, the Cardinals hope getting a first win is just the start of something big. Like every team in Minnesota, they're trying to make up for lost time. They had a ton of potential at this time last year, but with that taken away, this year's team is mostly starting from scratch.
It feels amazing, I just really like playing softball.
The return of spring sports is somewhat bittersweet. You can't help but think about the season that was lost and the continued threat of a COVID pause. So the Cardinals, like all their opponents, are just excited to be back on the field.
It's amazing, right? There were a lot of things that we missed out on last year and felt bad for kids for missing out on seasons, and it's wonderful to be back on the field.
Losing the 2020 season means most teams will return far less varsity experience than they're used to. For most of the Cardinals, they start learning on the job day one.
We're a real young team, and so in our opening day, we had 2 kids who had started games before, and that was it. We had 4 kids make their varsity debuts. We had 3 kids who had had like 10 at-bats or less.
Getting the first win is a big stepping stone for these Cardinals, especially the way they did it, rallying for 6 runs in the 6th inning to beat Orono 10-6.
But a lot of us haven't had the at-bats at varsity level to start off, and I think that's why we started off a little bit slow this season, but we came back really well this game. You know, this team can do a lot of great things. I love playing with them because we're never down. Like, even when we're losing, you wouldn't think we were losing. You know, we're always up, and everybody is like that. We're all like that.
The Cardinals hope they can build off that win and continue getting stronger and better. They know there's a lot of lessons yet to be learned and a lot of work yet to do. But after week 1, they are more familiar with their weak areas.
I mean, we need to communicate more in the field. There were some dropped balls and errors, and we just need to get better at communicating.
There'll be some ups and downs during the year, right? That's part of being a young team. But we're talking about building for 20 games down the road, being at our best in the playoffs. So
there are bound to be more bumps in the road, but the Cardinals are set to take them on together. They believe they have the talent, the work ethic, and the attitude to do something special this season.
I have complete confidence in every girl on this team. Like we're a team. Like we don't. There's no individual players. Like we function as a whole. So like it might take us like a little bit to like get in the groove, but like I feel confident in us.
Well, a lot of season left to be played at Armstrong on Thursday, at Henry Sibley next Monday. But yeah, as you talked about, for them to stick with it, be down 6-1, come back and get the win, shows a lot about what they have, potential they have.
Yeah, what I like is, and you hear a lot of that, is obviously we played together as a team, but I like the fact that they can identify some things that they've done incorrectly in the beginning and say, we're going to work on these things and we're going to improve that. And Coach Niedeber said, we're looking at a number of games, a handful of games down the road because we feel that this team has the opportunity.
Not how you start.
That's right. That's how you finish.
Well, the tennis team started with a tournament they hosted back on the 10th on Saturday. Started with Schaefer Academy. Had a couple of guys that weren't able to make it for the first match, but returned later in the day. So they lose to Schaefer Academy 6-1, but I believe 4 of their losses were in tiebreak because they played 2 sets plus a super tiebreak. I believe 4 of those losses were in tiebreak, so easily could have gone the other way. Coon Rapids beat Iredale 5-2, and then in the finale they faced Anoka and came up just short 4-3, and a couple of those were also in tiebreak. San Mario started his season 1-2 at first singles. Surprise Taylor started 2-1. Derek Avery 1-1 playing at third singles, and Nick Yang came in the other third singles and won it, so they were 2-1 at the third singles position that weekend as well. First dual meet of the season took them to Armstrong, and the Cardinals showed what they can do against the Falcons, beating them 6-1. All the guys winning pretty much in straight sets. San Mario wins 6-1, 6-love at first singles. All the doubles teams winning in straight sets. And a lot of guys, on Saturday, same situation, getting their first varsity action, getting their first varsity win. Getting those out of the way early in the season, that's great to see down the road.
It really is. This is a really good story, this team, from where some of these players were a couple of years ago to where they are now.
Well, the Cardinals were feeling pretty good when they welcomed the Blaine Bengals to Pivot Court on Thursday. The CTN crew was there, and the audience was in for a treat. The broadcast featured 2 pretty impressive athletes with equally impressive stories. We started first singles. Sophomore Sam Murillo got some varsity time as an 8th grader. 2 years later, he's playing varsity first singles, proving that it's right where he belongs. His superior ground game and court control were on display against Blaine. He was in complete control from start to finish, running the Bengals Doonigan side and side and front to back. Murillo showed he could play from the baseline or from the net and still control his opponent. Didn't lose a single game, sweeping up 6-love, 6-love. Second singles is a Cardinal captain that really lives up to his name. Surprise Taylor was playing at the bottom of the C squad 2 years ago, but he took the year off to really work on his game. Check out the power on the two-handed backhand. Taylor took the first set 6-3. Blaine's guy came right back and won the second set. Not to worry, refocused. Surprise went out in the third set and won 6-1 to improve his record to 4-1 on the season. He was at the bottom, C squad, singles.
Fourth singles, yeah.
Last spot on the roster. 2 years later, he's not only starting at second singles, but starting well, out to a 4-1 start.
You know, Sam's a really good player, and I was so impressed by the way he moved his opponent around the court, and he did it fairly effortlessly. And I really like the fact that you know, his ground strokes were strong, and he was able to have strong net play. And then you talk about Surprise Taylor, and he really did a nice job because he won that first set handily and then lost that second, but came back, didn't let him bother him at all, and he won that third one handily.
Well, and 3 years ago, Coach Storick was petitioning the school district to allow Sam to play varsity as a freshman. Yep. It was denied. He, about halfway through his 8th grade year, got him up. I think it was about halfway, maybe been earlier, but he got him in. Got him playing. He was playing second. He played as high, I think, his second singles as an 8th grader. Then, of course, you take a year off. And now he's also off to a 4-1 start.
Yeah, he's impressive.
At first singles. The Cardinals played against Totino today, and they come up with a tough loss. They win. They lose 4-3. They win at first, third, and fourth singles. Sam Murillo, Nick Yang, and Derek Avery, respectively, all getting straight sets victories. But the doubles teams lost in straight sets, and it came down to Surprise Taylor in a third set at second singles, and he came up short.
Tough one.
So they lose a tough one, 4-3.
Yep. Well, as we talked about, the Cardinals are off to a great start, and they're hoping to keep rolling all year long. Despite losing last season, their lineup is strong and showing great potential for years to come. And if they need inspiration, they need only look within.
Yeah, it feels great to be back on the court again. I think we have a really strong team this year, so I'm excited to play.
The Cardinals are psyched to get back on the court and show how they've grown. They only return a couple of players who have varsity experience, but they've come a long way since 2019.
I'm playing a lot better this year. I'm just, like Stork always says, play percentages. Like, I'm keeping the ball in more, and playing over the offseason really helped with that.
Not everyone looked at the loss of the 2020 season as a negative. Cardinals senior captain Surprise Taylor saw it as an opportunity.
Not having a season last year really motivated me more to get better and better, to be able to play well and to be able to have an opportunity to show what I've been doing over the past season that we didn't get to have.
Surprise was a first-year tennis player as a sophomore and played 4 singles on C squad, the lowest spot on the team. Now, just 2 years later, he's inspiring his coaches, teammates, and fellow captains.
He's second singles this year, and this is his first year playing varsity. And it's just really good to see him playing varsity because he just started playing tennis about 2 years ago. And to see like how fast he's improving and how much he loves to play is really inspiring to me personally.
The Cardinals have a good combination of talent and experience. The 3 captains plus senior Derek Avery will handle the 4 single spots for most matches. And Coach Stork has a number of other players to fill out the Cardinals doubles lineup.
Guys that are playing doubles, we're finding the right mixture. We have a 9th grader in the lineup, and today at 4 singles we had a 7th grader that we got approved from the school board, and so I mean it's a great mixture.
Like all spring athletes in Minnesota, the Cardinals know how precious these moments are and how quickly it can be taken away. It's more than a game. It's a chance to compete and a chance to improve. So they're pushing themselves and each other to get better and stronger every time they take the court.
I tell myself, you got this, keep on going, that point was good, next point, focus, try to break here, you got this, just repeating those words.
They're going to have a big test coming up. They are at Maple Grove on Thursday. Crimson, always a very tough program. They're at Spring Lake Park on Friday. And it's interesting because Coach Stork has a website for tennis results. And he does a little write-up after each match. And the energy and just pure joy that you can see in the writing this year Not necessarily that it's any different than years past. It's just I think everybody appreciates it more after having lost it. And he's very excited about the team he has.
Well, and I think so too, and I think you can see it on his face when he was talking with us, is that he really likes where his squad is now. And we've talked about in the past how, you know, he kind of tinkers every once in a while, especially with moving kids around from singles to doubles and vice versa. But I think this is a team that has some depth and has an opportunity to do well.
It will be interesting to watch. Track team has had a couple of meets so far. Started out with a dual meet against the Rogers Royals. Boys getting beat just barely by the Royals, 65-53. Some of the top finishers, Freeman in the 110-meter hurdles finished first. Manuel Gordon was first place in the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash. Kavanaugh took second place in the 100-meter. Andre Kemboy, first place in the 800-meter. Smith was first in the triple jump with Delman right behind him with a distance of 35 feet 3 inches. Girls team won another close one, 62.5 to 55.5. Martinson winning both of the hurdles events. She had Russ not far behind her in the 100-meter, taking second. Bone finished first in the 1 mile run with Legree right behind her, and Burnt in third place. It's always nice to see you sweeping up in a specific event. On Tuesday the 20th, they were at Centennial for a dual meet. The boys win 81-61. Cole Fosselin took first place in the shot put with a distance of 40 feet, 11.5 inches. Edward Tabla was first in the high jump. Edwards was first in the long jump. Freeman again winning the 100-meter hurdles. And Andre Kemboy again winning at the half mile. Girls, different stories. Centennial showing off their power with a 102-40 win over the Cardinals. 4x200-meter relay team did take first place. Martinson was first in both 100 and 300-meter hurdles. Ava Kerr was first in the 800-meter. Grace Kerr was first in the pole vault. And Lucy Wynn was second place in the 500-meter dash. They have a 5-team meet coming up a week from Thursday, so on the 28th. Then they have a tri-meet on May the 6th. And hope to catch up with them here in the next week or so and maybe have them under the spotlight next time on that May 3rd show.
That 5-team meet should be interesting. Got an opportunity to see what you can do against 4 other squads.
And it's 5 of the very good Northwest Suburban Conference teams that they face. Boys golf team started with a dual meet against Minnehaha Academy, hosting at Bunker Hills on the 8th. Cardinals start off nice. It was just a 9-hole, obviously, with the scores, but a 173 win by 20 strokes. Peyton Himley led the way with a 41, Nate Clark a 42, Nate Klinzing a 43, DeVries was 47, and Robertstad was a 48. Then they had the Bunker Hills Invitational last week on the 15th. They finished 16th place overall with a score of 350. Nate Clark was their leader in 50th place with an 83. Peyton Himley just 1 stroke behind in 62nd. Gabe DeVries was 77th with an 87. Robertstad in the top 100 shooting a 96. And Klinzing in 104th place shot a 99. They are at Blaine on Thursday. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. The boys will play at North Fork on Thursday with at least half of their Northwest Suburban Conference teams, and they'll be at Golden Valley on Monday. Girls golf started their season with the Shamrock Invitational. Cardinals were 5th place with a 411. Wilson led the way with a 92. Dead even 46s on both sides. Garbo was a 95. Severson shot a 111 for Beek, a 113, and Georgie shot a 114. They had their first dual meet of the season on Tuesday this week, and they beat the Tornadoes by 20 strokes. Kate Garbo was their leader with a 43. Wilson finished with a 47. For Beek, a 62. DeVoe and McLean both shooting 64. And so Coach Keeney also gives me nice little updates on his team. He's pretty excited about what they have at the top, and also the depth that he has. He said he's got 4 or 5 players just battling for those last 3 spots.
And it's nice to see the programs both programs getting a couple wins. And for the most part, if you can stand the cold, the weather's been fairly decent for them to be able to play. We haven't seen a lot of snow lately, a lot of or rain, and so they've been able to get out on the course.
Well, and the boys, just looking at their scores, 3 guys, if you got 3 guys that consistently score in the 80s, you have an opportunity to move up in the Northwest Suburban ranks. Now, the other teams, the Maple Groves, some of the other top teams are going to have scratch golfers on their lineup.
Absolutely.
I don't know that the Cardinals, a couple of those guys maybe on their best day are going to be a 77, 78. That'd be great. But if you can get 3 and even 4 guys in the mid-80s or low 80s, you have enough as a team to move up from the bottom half of that conference.
Yep, absolutely.
And that looks to be where they're starting. So
and they push each other too as well.
Better.
Yep.
Boys lacrosse team started their season on Monday. The boys have combined with Spring Lake Park. Don't call them the Catbirds, Howie. They lost their opener on Monday night against Champlin Park, 15-5. Goals from Spencer, Leff, Packard Rao, Dace, and Romaker. They will be at Anoka. They're at Anoka tonight on Wednesday night, the 21st.
Yep.
And Howie?
We're there.
We are there.
You and I aren't there.
We aren't there.
But CTN is there.
But we are there.
Yes.
We're not there, but we are.
Yes, absolutely. Figure that one out.
Jeremy Smith providing the coverage on our webcast of that. And then they will be hosting Roseville at Spring Lake Park on Monday.
Well, the girls lacrosse team opened its season at home on Monday, hosting a perennial power from Maple Grove. The Cardinals returned to the field after a year off with a new coach, and they were hoping for the best, then they knew the Crimson would be really hard to keep up with. Jeff Snickel was a longtime assistant for both girls soccer and lacrosse. When Coach Swenson stepped down, he stepped up. This team was under siege all game long. Maddie Best able to do whatever she wanted, great scoring opportunities. She goes for the goal. Maple Grove has an early 2-0 lead. Crimson on the attack again. Jamie Stolp with a chance in close, and Hannah Stadolka comes up with the save, and the Cardinals were able to clear. Stolp would eventually cash in. Great passing from the Maple Grove. Work it up for top. Right back out front to Stolp. She turns and scores 6-0 Crimson at that point. Free position for Maple Grove's Becky Getch, and she plays it around to Stolka for one of her 6 goals in the game. The Crimson just running away with this one. Check out the behind-the-head goal for Getch. Made it a 10-0 still in the first half. Maple Grove, they cruised to a 21-0 win.
Yeah, they've met little resistance from the Cardinals, but that again is a high-powered team, and such an interesting sport, lacrosse, both boys and girls, because it's all about possession. And you can have the ball the whole game if you're a really good possession team, which Maple Grove obviously is.
I was watching a little bit of that game, and Maple Grove is really good, and they do some really nice things. And the Cardinals were struggling in that one, quite obviously. Obviously, we see the final score 21-0, but it's early, and they're going to continue to try and grow and do better.
Well, the Cardinals are at Blaine tonight. They will host Spring Lake Park on Monday, and that is it.
Whew. Big one.
We have a lot of stuff coming up for you here on CTN. We've got some softball on Thursday. We've got some more single camera shoots for lacrosse. We've got baseball coming up next week. We've got
softball,
more softball coming up next week. A lot of great stuff. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us, continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.